to sit there and work on making one of the fingers first, get everything parented, get all the stuff. I thought, okay, I see what I'm doing there. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Paul Workshop. It is I, that thumb you keep hitting with the hammer, Techno Meow Tinkerer. And today we're going to go over as a sort of continuation of the blades transformer that I've been working on in Blender. Now, instead of actually working on blades, I'm actually going to work on a generic hand that I'm going to be using for a lot of the transforming robots. And that is because, for the most part, you can get creative, but you don't always need to keep changing with a new mold for each hand. But as we're going to look here, we're going to go into the blades that I created in Blender. And I'm just going in and selecting this hand. Now this hand was just a generic blocky looking, kind of supposed to be robotic hand, served really no function other than being a place filler. And now I'm going to recreate it. Now one of the things I did is I kind of look around. I was trying to look around on the internet for different robotic hands to figure out how do I want to design this. And as I said in blades, the way I did the tail runner, and I think I even did some of the other little gear, is kind of what I end up using here. Now starting out, I was just trying to create, one of the things I was trying to create the hand in two part because I'm going to put a hinge in this area, and boy I wish I knew how to zero those, or actually zero those things on the same axis at the time when I did this. But no, I want the hand to have a certain bend, because when you really put your own hand up, you can kind of bend. When you bend your thumb to your pinky, you can touch the middle knuckle with your thumb, because your hand does got that bit of a joint, especially around that thumb area. But another thing is, doing it this way, it gives me the ability also to try to transform the hand. That way I can actually have it fold in on itself. And as you can see here, I'm kind of reusing some of the techniques I did in the previous blade video. And I just, for some reason, when I went to do the hand, I did not realize it at the time that I previously used this and could have used it again. Sit here and just do a bunch of loop cuts. As like with blades, just mainly extrude and loop cuts, delete panels and merge points. Sit here and create. Now if I was smart originally, I would have already created the other part of the joint before I extended those out, or at very least before I merge all the points together. Now, of course, as you saw earlier, I did give the little bevel edge kind of thing going on to help, because part of the stuff is that it's going to have to, when it moves and folds, it's going to have a little bit of give way. Oh yeah, I ended up duplicating, so I could have this to work again. Like I said, if I was smart, I would have done this first before all this. I thought I did that with the matrix, but no, actually I pulled the piece all the way through, didn't merge it and delete. So yeah. There was supposed to be a way where you're supposed to be able to click and select all, but for some reason it was not working for me. It might have been because I had originally gone it, and I think I changed some of the settings to work with the fact that I have a mouse with no scroll wheel. So I may have to figure out how to go in and reset all the defaults and then go back and make some changes, especially when I get a new mouse that has a scroll wheel. And I don't remember if I said the reason why. It's just the space on my desk. Having a mouse that you can slide around is not practical. I have literally is about just a hand and a half width, and it could work, but just sometimes it's just, for me, it's easier to have one that I don't have to slide around the desk. I mean, like I said, it's just I was repeating. You don't need to know much to create stuff in Blender, but knowing some of the other stuff helps make things more expedient and doing. The fun part is here you're sitting trying to figure out how to do all the stuff, and later on in this thing I finally get into parenting because trying to do this stuff with the center points or the I don't know if it's the center point or the object rotates point. It's the point that the object sits on for rotation. It's been sitting here trying to decide the size. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was trying to figure out how to do it as I went. Oh yeah, the first time I was gonna do all the joints and then do the fingers, and I realized that'd be just extra work. Why don't I make one part of the finger with the joint and then just duplicate that? Yeah, so like I said, for the most part, it's just extrude. Now, give these one thing about giving those little edges on the like a bevel type thing. It just seems like it helps with making the figure look less blocky and more like sci-fi robotic. I guess that's the term. And it goes duplicate again and do another extrude and join all the edges together. And that's pretty much how I made most of the finger joints. Now there was some other stuff I added in to try to improve it a little bit better. But boom, there is one joint of the finger. Oh yeah, there we go. I slid back to try to give a bit more covering because the fingers don't bend all the way back, but does have a little bit of a bend back. And it's really kind of either at the tip and the base and not so much the middle. But I just kind of stuck with just being the same. Now that the last one I trying to change because I'm trying to make that angled piece of the tip of your finger underneath your fingernail. And I know it ain't 100% perfect, but hey, for a beginner robot hand, it's starting to turn out to look like one. And it's just amazing just what you can do with just a few simple shapes to make it look a lot more complex than what it is. Oh yeah, I think is this where I'm going in parenting? I can't remember. Or I'm trying to group things together. Yeah, I'm trying to do all that stuff. At some point I go in and try to parent because I found out, this is when I was trying to rotate and did not want to rotate with me. And then I went in and I learned about parenting. Now you're trying to get the hand fixed. Trying to see how the fingers work. We're trying to at least get them to do something. I can't remember why I did it this way. But I think, not there, yes, right, I was trying to, there's origin point. That was the thing I think I was looking for earlier, the origin point, which uses to rotate. Trying to get that line up. Oh yeah, I think one thing was I did it this way so I could check and see where the finger bends because I got to make sure that it's not cutting into the shape of the hand when the fingers bend. Now it's not a full bend because you don't see the tip of the finger actually touching the palm. And I think it had to do with I needed right where the joint is at, I kind of need a bevel that edge, and then I could probably have done a better rotation. But no, this is just a semi-workable hand that I can use as a placeholder when I go to create a bunch of transformers. So I'm going to be repeat using this hand a lot. And by keeping it so simple, if I want to modify it for depending upon the transformer that I'm doing or any other robot, it'd be easy to add stuff to it because it's kind of very simple. It's mainly just a bunch of blocks with joints. Trying to line everything up. Oh, that's right, I had deleted stuff and I went back and parented. Now, looking back on this, if I do ever redo the hand, I do need to sit there and work on making one of the fingers first, get everything parented, get all the stuff. I thought, okay, I see what I'm doing there. Now I'm adding in some of the bevel that I need. That way, when I don't think it's really, I don't think I added enough in, but at least it'll allow for when the finger closes, it to close a little bit better, and the tips come closer to the palm. Like I said, next time, if I ever redo this again, I just got to remember to be smart and just go ahead and do all the stuff I want to do with one finger before duplicating it. And I tell you one thing, I love doing these type of shapes in 3D because I catch hell with trying to draw stuff like this. Now, if I'm doing like side view, front view, top view, mechanical stuff like this, I can pretty well do it decently. And I did learn something with mechanical engineering about how to use a top-down view and a side view of an object to do some perspective drawings. And that came out okay. But trying to do this perspective drawing with something like this without those guides, and there's a way you did it. I can't remember where you have them placed on above and the side of the picture, and you basically follow lines down to a certain point and then follow back to the vanishing point. I can't remember the exact. I wish I could remember. It was pretty good. Ooh. Well, how long was ago was that? 7 years ago I did that. I can't remember. I think it was around 2015 or maybe 17, so it might have been. Yeah, probably 7 years, if not more. Maybe not quite that. It might have been around 16 or yeah, it might be 17. So yeah, probably about 7 years. Oh, time flies when you're having fun. Although I wasn't having much fun at that time, but I was making do with what I had. But yeah, doing mechanical stuff in 3D is just, to me, easy. It's fun and easy. I have not yet gotten into doing too much organic, and that might be a future project. Right now I'm still kind of working on the bedroom design, the Transformer themed bedroom. But yeah, just sitting here playing around with simple blocks, you'd be surprised. I kind of feel like I'm playing with the computer version of Legos though. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to do the thumb joint because the thumb has a very unique bend to it, and I sit here trying to play around, trying to figure out how to do it. And I kind of just figure out the easiest thing would be to repeat what I did for the center of the hand, because the thumb, the way it moves, it can go from the side to underneath the hand. And I quite did not do it. I probably should have put this joint really more on the underside to give that feel, but I think for what I did, at least it'll give some of that movement. But yeah, when we get back to doing the actual, like I said, if I ever get around to redoing this again, I might actually do that. I might put this joint on the underside of the hand. That way you can kind of get that thumb to go underneath the hand, like on our. But it's just repeating the same joint I did earlier. Man, how much time would have been saved if I could have just do that 0 axis. Do this. Oh, I forgot to look that up. Where you hit, I think it's Shift S, and then it was the one at the bottom of the menu you click, and allows you to move a certain point around. And you gotta go to the top and you gotta change. I forgot what it was called, but anyway, it allows you when you do the size move that you can adjust on a different center point, so to speak. It's not the origin point. And there's me trying to give a little bit more of a gap. You had to copy and unparent. I think what is it here? I think I'm trying to get all the. I think I was trying to get something organized with the fingers or something. I can't remember. At least this way here will at least allow me to kind of get some of that thumb movement where it turns from being technically your thumb ain't necessarily horizontal with your hand as far as the top of the thumb goes, but at least here this kind of gives me some. And I may actually one day go back and redo this to try to make it more realistic as far as how the operation will go. But for a beginner robot hand, it ain't too bad. Boy, you just see all those lines when you just see through. Okay, there's what I'm going to try to make it where it can bend better, easier, or something like that. That way when it goes, you can do that semi going underneath the hand type thing. Oops, move those a little too close. I see where some of the areas I did that didn't weld to, or didn't merge correctly. And that's one issue I did find I had, was because some of this stuff was at an angle and not square with the grid, trying to actually get the stuff to line up properly and be positioned where you can see the stuff. Now again, like I said with blades, if I had knew about doing the quadrant view where you can see from one of each axis plus the three-dimensional, it might would have worked better. Oh yeah, now one of the things that kind of gave me an issue was I was trying to, because of the way I did the actual hand that had the joint, trying to do the wrist. The wrist was a bit more tricky trying to figure out how to do because of what I did. Now I'm lining up these with each of the loop cuts that I have in, and I think, yeah, I'm trying to get all the loop cuts and stuff lined up that way everything kind of works together. But I think ultimately I realized that because of the way the joint is, I could actually have placed it someplace else. Right now, get everything merged together. Control M. I tend to always do last selected, so I select the point I want to move first, and the last point I select will always be the one that I want to join to. It's just for me easier that way. And let's see. Yeah, we merged this. I think I was originally going to have the joint placed on the wrist part of the joint part of one of the hinge joints on the outside of the hand, and I realized I can place it on the inside and make it more centered. Because yeah, right here I was going to do it this way, and then I think for some reason, I can't remember when I thought about, but I thought, oh yeah, when I was looking at it from this, like, this just does not look right, having it all on one thing. And I realized, hey, technically I can move it to the other. Yeah, you put a loop cut in there, trying to get everything joined together. I think, did I forget a loop cut inside? Yeah, I had to go and add a loop cut because I cut the faces, or I deleted the faces of the joint before I added the loop cut. I don't remember why some stuff was wrong. It's partly because of some of the parenting I was doing. Oh yeah, I had to trying to move some of the stuff to the center, that way when I go to actually move the joint. But yeah, this is where I noticed, like, wait a minute, I could put this here and it'll be more centered. That way the wrist will look more naturally positioned over the hand. Now, I'm trying to remember, what was I doing? I know I'm getting ready to actually, I've worked on the wrist joint. Now I'm kind of moving this to be sort of part of the forearm, I think. I'm trying to remember. Don't know my anatomy that well. But I think I think that's what I did, is I was trying to make something be sort of like part of the forearm. That's right. What I did is I wanted this to be, because your hand can both slide back and forth like the way I got this joint, but it also can rotate a certain amount. And that's what it was. I was trying to figure out how to get it to rotate, or the ability to rotate. So I needed to do something slightly different. And there might have been a different way I could have done it, but I went with this way at the time, where I kind of want to do part of it's still part of the wrist, but almost in the forearm. But I end up adding, if I remember correctly, a cylinder at the back so that the hand can rotate. Yeah, there we go. There's the cylinder. Now I probably put this a little too far back. I probably needed it closer to the other to be a proper wrist. But for the time being, yeah, that's what it does. And that's pretty much the hand. Just a simple robotic hand to act as filler. Now, I know blades I want to go back and redo. I may or may not go back and redo the hand. Have not decided yet. But most likely I will, because I'll be going, ooh, I can do something. Now that I've gone through and watched the video of me doing it, and I see some stuff that I would probably want to do differently, I may go back to it, but that's not on my top priority right now. Redoing blades in Blender will be more my priority, and getting on to making some of the other characters. But that's pretty much it for today's video. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and if you want to, please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with anyone you think may be interested. I hope all of y'all have a nice day.
Yeah.